Welcome to Stop Wasting Your Wine, a wine review podcast dedicated to helping you discover great wines with great value for every occasion. Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Aaron, Colin, and Joel, and you're listening to the best damn wine show around. We are excited to open up a new bottle of wine with all of you tonight, and we're even more excited to chat with the winemaker himself. Tonight, we're drinking Amarone made from a hand-harvested grapes in Valpolicella Classico. A wine born from patience, grapes dried for months before fermentation. It's bold, it's powerful, and it doesn't apologize.
Today's guest, we're so excited, Mariano Buglioni of Buglioni Winery. Born and raised in the northeast region of Italy, Mariano developed a passion for winemaking at a young age. Mariano originally worked in the textiles industry with his father. He produced his first wine starting with the 2000 vintage after him and his father, Alfredo Buglioni, began to farm grapes from their estate in Valpolicella Classico. Mariano Buglioni is not only a highly respected winemaker, but also a passionate advocate for the culinary traditions of the Valpolicella region. Mariano has opened osterias in the region where guests can enjoy delicious local cuisine paired with his wines. That sounds amazing. Mariano resides in San Pietro with his wife, Clara, and their three children, Cristiano, Gaia, and Emma. Mariano, cheers and welcome to the show. We're so happy to have you.
Thank you so much. But yeah, you said everything, so I can leave now. No,
that's it. Thanks for coming. We appreciate your time.
This has been great.
Yeah. You said where I live, what they do, what they did before. So it's just time to
Did
drink.
we nail it?
It's that easy. It's that easy, right?
That's a pretty good record.
Yeah.
No, I mean, we really appreciate you joining us, and we appreciate you sharing this incredible bottle of wine with us. When this showed up, and I opened the box and I saw what you sent us, I was just really excited.
Good to know. I'm so happy and so proud, that you're tasting my wine tonight. It's one of the wine that I'm really proud of because has been something that we decided. Imagine we're one of the youngest winery in Valpolicella. As you said, we started in 2000. Our first first vinification was in 2000. So compared to our colleagues, we are really brand new in the market. Even if we are young, we decided already, it was 2010. So already, 16 years ago, we decided not to use anymore the barrique for aging our, let's say, top wine. And the reason we decided that was just because basically, Amarone is a wine that is bold, as you said, is something very with a lot of extraction, with a lot of tannins, with a lot of fruit. Most of the time, it was very difficult to pair this wine with food. So we pick up the idea that we wanted to change the vinification system. We wanted to have something a little bit different that was easier to pair. 2010 has been the last year that we used the barrique, and then we switched our vinification into a big barrel. So imagine that the smallest one we have is 11 times bigger.
For the listener at home, a barrique is your standard size barrel. So think like your average wine barrel, or maybe what they age whiskey in, just to get an idea of size versus the giant sizes that he's now aging in. And that really does affect the wine. You're still getting the aging from the oak barrels, but you're not getting that intense oak flavor.
I mean, it seems like an excellent moment to actually get our noses in this. So we're gonna take a shot. We're gonna see what we're getting on our noses, and Mariano, you can let us know if we completely butcher it or if we're getting a little close. Joel, why don't you start us off? What are you getting on the nose, buddy?
Absolutely. Just like we were, I think, sort of expecting, a lovely, lovely fruit forward kind of essence there. Very nice, red fruit, some cherry in there. Young, fresh smelling.
Fresh is key, especially at 15.5%. The nose is incredibly fresh. It's
Absolutely.
Not overly jammy. Especially, honestly, compared to some other Amarones that I've had. This is such a light, uplifting smell compared to some of them can be ultra, just heavy smelling. But this is definitely not that. But yeah, red fruit. I think there's a little bit of like earthiness, maybe a little bit of like almost meatiness in there too, like almost like a salami type vibe, which is really nice. Yeah, that's what I'm getting anyway.
Just the complexity in here. We still are smelling around and picking up new observations as we go in there. And I was just going to say too, I loved Colin's call on just that earthy aspect, and then he said some salami, and I'm trying to put my head around, because to me I know what you mean, Colin, when you say meatiness.
Right.
And I was just kind of thinking, I don't know if it's salami, but it's something
Yeah.
a little
Salami might not be the
softer,
term,
right?
but you know how, like, for me, you know how Syrah sometimes has kind of a meaty edge to it? It kind of
100%.
reminds me of the Syrah meaty edge.
Mm-hmm.
You know what that
Mm-hmm.
is?
Just
I'm
a
not sure,
question.
but
When did you open the bottles?
it's been about an hour.
An hour.
I have mine about 2 hours ago.
One very nice thing about our wine, this kind of wine, you can even open the bottle just 5-10 minutes before you're
I
drinking
love that.
it. You just
Mm-hmm.
pour in the glass, and then you just get a little bit of oxygenation to the wine, and that's it. Because then
Mm-hmm.
you get all the evolution you get from the moment is a little bit more close, and then slowly you get all the smell that is coming up, is changing, is getting this differentiation between extremely fresh, and then
Mm-hmm.
slowly it starts to open up in a very good way, where you get the blueberry,
Mm-hmm.
blackberry, cherry. You get a
Mm.
lot of beautiful smells coming out. But then finally, if you leave in the glass, even in the glass, if you leave the wine a few hours, you get not into the, let's say, jammy effect. So this marmalade, this
Mm.
kind of cooked fruit, it keeps being in this meatiness, fruity, but never getting into this jammy side.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, for sure. It's incredibly fresh for
It's
Amarone. It's really
really
like
fresh.
kind of totally
Mm-hmm.
bucks the idea of what I was expecting. Because it's usually super jammy. At least the Amarones I've had. That's kind of the style. So this is a really different, uplifted version of Amarone, especially from what I was expecting. So really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really think it's like what's not there is what's really impactful, right? Like it's a 15.5% alcohol wine, and I'm not getting like the alcohol up the nose. That we've opened so many big reds that don't have the thought into it, and you pour it in your glass, and the first thing you get is just the sharp alcohol burn, and that's not there. And this actually might be the highest alcohol wine that we have reviewed in a very long time, and to not have that at all is really, really impressive. And the same
Yeah.
thing with the amount of time that you age this, and having that idea around the bigger barrel, so that it doesn't have like the over smokiness, and not having the big oakiness in there too, is also really cool that that's not there. So that was the first thing that stuck out to me beyond everything that you all named as what is there. What isn't there, I actually found just as impressive.
And this is it's a huge compliment, because the fact that a bold wine like Amarone is elegant, is fruity, doesn't show up with the alcohol, because it's extremely integrated, and this is really something very unique of our Amarone. Imagine that when we started 15, 16 years ago, a very important producer in Valpolicella, you should know, because two are extremely important. So one of the two guys, without naming him, said that you are crazy, because this style is not for now. This is something that you shouldn't do, because it's too light, it's too easy to pair with food. Amarone should be something that should how do you say, should shock your palate. It's not something that has to be very pleasant, has to be strong, has to be powerful, has to be bold. And I was like, yeah, I agree that Amarone
Mm-hmm.
was like that, but I don't agree on fact that if I open this kind of Amarone, I get a glass and then I'm done. I don't go for the second one. I want an Amarone that I open
Yeah,
the
that's right.
bottle, I get the first sip, and then I keep drinking. I'm not drinking 3 bottles, but of course I want to have the second glass and maybe even the third glass, and enjoying with the food. So I can start with something that is easier to pair, and I want to enjoy the Amarone. I don't want just to have a Pinot Noir and never get an Amarone because it's too strong. I want to try to find out a way to get a good Amarone, but easier to drink. So the guys in Valpolicella, they say that we are a very Piemontese. So we have the same style of the Piedmont guys, so the Burgundy style of Amarone. And in the beginning, I say, yeah, it's true, but we just did what in the beginning the producer were doing, because in the beginning they were not using barrique, they were using big cask. They were using these 25 hectoliter and 50 hectoliter cask. So I just did what they were doing, and because we loved those kind of Amarone, and they were easy to pair with our food. So we were not eating something that was extremely strong, powerful, or because that style of Amarone, I mean the heavy one, the only pairing you could have done was with something overstewed or with wild boar. And I say, I'm not eating wild boar every day. I'm not eating something overstewed every day. I
No?
want something that is for every day. It's not just the once a year. And so there was a discussion there. But finally, I say, okay, I decided I want to go in this way, and my Amarone will be like that. You like it or you hate it, I don't know, but
Yeah.
this is the style I love.
Yeah, I was going to say
Yeah.
you absolutely nailed it, because this is by far the most approachable out of the bottle Amarone that I've ever had, and it's absolutely delightful. I mean, this is an easy drinking Amarone in the best way possible, and it's really an experience that I wasn't expecting. So really, just awesome so far.
So I have to ask, though, going back, I want to, when we first heard that we get to interview you, I Googled your name, and the very first article that comes up about you calls you the accidental winemaker. And did you know that?
Yeah, no. I
And
was a little bit worried about which article was about me. I was like, what did I wrong?
but it just and I've been so interested, because this whole interview you've talked about all these different moments where you've been challenged, or you've chosen to do a bigger cask, or someone has said like, no, don't do that, or you've kind of challenged the status quo or done something different. And it goes, it talks about how in 1993, y'all started by just kind of trading the grapes on your new property for knowledge, and kind of just starting very basic and kind of learning. So how did you go from starting in this place of learning the basics by like trading grapes to the folks around you, to like going to challenging the status quo and doing a whole new sort of Amarone? Like, that seems like a really big jump from like learning the basics to doing a whole new thing with a very traditional wine.
I've been lucky, because one of the things that we developed as soon as we started opening our winery, a few years later, we decided even to open the hospitality side. So we opened the osteria in downtown under the name of our ripasso that has got the name of Il Bugiardo, the Liar. So Osteria del Bugiardo. And then we opened the second osteria, and then we opened in the middle of the vineyard our locanda. So we started to be in the hospitality side as well. But the hospitality was more to understand. It was like, when you have a laboratory where you learn, where you do the experiment. So it was our first and best feedback coming from the market, coming from the drinkers, coming from our customers. So it was extremely important for us to understand if the direction, or if the style, if the acidity, if any wine we were producing was good or not. So we were listening the market more than what we believed in what we were doing. And I figured out that it was extremely difficult to pair the Amarone. So it was really, I was pairing all the others. I was pairing our, the Bardolino we were producing, the Valpolicella, the Superiore, the Ripasso. And when at the moment I was pairing the Amarone, I had to go in the kitchen with my chef and say, you have to cook something that is extremely strong, powerful, because we have to taste now the Amarone. And the guy was like, okay, but I need to get again the wild boar. I need to get this. Okay, let's get something. So it was really difficult. There, I started to say, why should we produce a wine that we cannot pair? Why should we go in this direction? Why should we just impress people with something very shocking in the palate, but then difficult to drink and difficult to pair? At that moment, I went back, in the cellar, and I said to Diego, our winemaker, I said, Diego, we need to change the style. And it was like, are you crazy? What's going on? What's wrong with you? I say, a lot of things are wrong with me, but one is,
but not that.
yeah, one is extremely important for me that we need to solve and to change. Whenever I'm tasting with people, I don't know how to pair it. It's really difficult, and they get a sip. And then I watch what they drink. So we got 7, 8 glasses in front of us, and I watch if you like one wine or if you like the other one. And every time Amarone was there, so they were not going back to sip it again for the second, the third, the fourth time. They were going back to the ripasso. They were going back to the others, and I was not happy about that. So I say, okay, we need to change the style. Slowly, as I said, that 2010 was the idea I've got, and 2011 I started to switch the production and the vinification. And so since that moment, I realized that most of the time you just watch around, you just watch what's going on. If you get a piece of meat that you love and nobody else is eating, means you have the wrong palate, you have the wrong taste because nobody else is eating.
Right.
Sure.
It's wrong.
Sure.
It's not correct. And I was not drinking as well, so I was not liking it. It was too heavy even for me. So I was like, okay, I can get a sip, I can get maybe a glass, but I don't go for the second. It's not needed. I go back to the ripasso, I go
Sure.
back to the others. So slowly we
Sure.
understand, we pick up the idea that, changing the style, changing the approach to the vinification, changing the barrel, and changing the respect of the fruit that you have to pick in the right moment, and drying not too long to have, because if you dry, as you know, to get the Amarone, you need to dry the grape. If you dry the grape for a long time, too long time, you get so much shrinking of the grape because of evaporation. In the cluster, you get the water evaporation. And this sugar residue, if it is too high, once you finish the fermentation, you have a lot of alcohol. Or you keep some sugar into the Amarone. Our Amarone is almost sugar-free. Imagine that regularly an Amarone has between 5 and 10 grams of sugar residue per liter. Our one is only 2.
Okay.
So there is no sugar, but the
Wow.
alcohol is even low. How is it possible? We try not to dry too long the grape, and in this way, you don't have too much sugar residual. So once you finish the fermentation, the alcohol is not extremely high, and you get all the sugar evolved into alcohol. So it's a little recipe, a little secret, about our vinification. That I saw that many producers started a few years ago to follow our style, and I'm happy because I prefer to drink those kind of Amarone instead of the other kind of Amarone,
Sure.
for
Yeah.
sure.
That's interesting too. And I'm thinking how almost, it's perfect. I love how you melded with the Osterias, the winemaking and the hospitality side of things. And while you're going through this transformation of the Amarone, you actually kind of got to see in real time and measure, are people going back for that second glass? Are people pairing this with the food that we're making as well? So I'm curious. I mean, were you looking for that? Was that something that you did? And when you saw that, was that like validation? Like, yes, this gamble I took is paying off.
Yeah, it was very quick to understand that what we were doing was really done in a good way, because people were not just sipping and say, "Oh, nice, Amarone is nice." They were, sipping the first one, and then they were finishing the glass and then get it to the second glass, and they were like, "Wow, this Amarone is amazing," because you can pair with the regular food, you can pair with with fish, you can pair with even with something spicy, with something that is regularly not for Amarone. This one works. It's really very unique.
Amazing.
And of course,
Awesome.
the hospitality side was extremely helpful for us, and still it is, because whenever we release the new vintage, whenever we get a new wine, something like that, the test is right there. And in a couple of months, we get the
Absolutely.
feedback. It's still too young. It's too fresh. Wait for a couple of months. Something like that is extremely important. Really, we are so proud to have this let's say, laboratory hospitality section.
Absolutely.
Goodness,
That's a
yeah.
perfect way to put it.
That's so cool. That's so great. And you guys too are certified organic. Was that a farming decision, a philosophical decision, economic decision, or maybe, was that a little bit of everything tied up into one there?
There was more. We wanted to respect a little bit more the soil, because we have to keep in mind that grape come from the soil, come from the respect that you give to the nature, and so on and so on. Even if I have to tell you the truth, uh, 25 we decided to step back. It's not to step back, to step aside. So we went into a different direction. We moved to the sustainable side, because
Sure.
we realized that being organic, it's great, and we still respect a lot, because we still treat organic, but we try not to spread out so much copper. That is the only thing you can use.
Mm,
But
Mm.
if you use too much copper, as you know, is a metal. If you use too much, you get a
Mhm.
lot of metal into the soil. So we wanted to
Mm.
sure.
reduce even spraying that much copper, and so we went into the sustainability, so into the sustainable side, to even reduce further the spraying in the field.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Because I mean, and when I hear organic, I mean organic. A lot of times they're still using a lot of the same chemicals. You're just using the organic version. So I think sustainability makes a lot more sense because you're really tending to the earth in a way that is better than just spraying organic versus man-made chemicals. So I really appreciate that
Correct.
shift. I think that makes a lot of sense.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Okay. We have one more question for Mariano, and then we want to get into kind of our final like tasting and give us our last stamp of what I very confidently am going to say is our stamp of approval. So, it's just how enthusiastic very enthusiastic. But so the last question I have for you though is, you guys have been around, like you said, a very young winery. But when you think in the future for the next 20 years, what do you hope? Where do you hope Buglioni stands kind of in the story of Amarone and Valpolicella in the wine community as a whole? You've already kind of made an impact, as you mentioned, your style, and other folks are starting to copy your style. What do you hope the long-term impact is moving forward on Amarone and the community?
Oh, that's a tough question to answer, but it's a nice question,
Good.
because we worked last year. We did a good thing with my son. As you know, young generation is a little bit reluctant to drink wine, because they say it's for old people, is for
Mhm.
is for my father's side, for my grandpa side, so it's not trendy. So last year we had a meeting in the company, in the winery. We had a meeting with my son, who joined us and helps us in the hospitality side. Um,
Mm.
Together with the guys in the social media that we have in the company, we had a meeting with them, and we said, how is it possible that we convert the young generation to drink again wine, and to drink even ripasso, amarone, so those big wines that most of them they don't want
Mhm.
even to taste. And my son immediately answered, but when they taste our wine, they love it. They love Amarone. They love our style of Amarone. They love our
Mhm.
ripasso. So it's not difficult. Yeah, I know, but I don't know how to let all the young generation, to drink it, because it's not just you and your friends.
Yeah.
Has to be, a lot of you who says there is good Amarone and there is bad Amarone, as everywhere. There is good
Mhm.
Pinot, good Cab. There is everywhere. There is someone who
Sure.
is doing something that is lighter in style, and so on and so on. So we started. After his idea. We started to have a kind of, let's say, party in the middle of the vineyard, in our restaurant. He asked me to close the restaurant on Sunday evening, so not having the service on Sunday evening, because he wanted to have a party outside of the restaurant in the middle of the vineyard,
Mm.
where people
Oh,
had
cool.
a different kind of food. Is like a street food, as you know, all kind of street food served outside, but
Yeah.
Sure.
just with wine. He started to do those events. Imagine, the first one was May last year. He started to do those events,
Mhm.
and it was it was magic because it started with a couple of hundred people coming to this event. And then after 8 events, it was a couple of thousand people coming to this event.
Oh my
So
gosh.
really,
That's so cool.
the last one was 2,400. 2,400 people
Oh
coming
my God.
to
That's
this
incredible.
event, having street food and drinking wine, and they were drinking wine. Really, it was not just a glass or a sip. They were drinking half a bottle each. So average was half a bottle each, and we were super surprised. How is it possible that this is working? And my son say, just keep it easy.
Mhm.
Keep it, don't start to talk about tannins, fermentation, malolactic this, malolactic that. No, just say it's
Mhm.
fresh, it's acidic, it's soft, it's sweet. So be really very very easy in describing it. And we were doing that. So we followed the suggestion, and it was really really working. So even that
Brilliant.
is the style of the wines that young generation can accept or not, because if it is too strong, too powerful,
Mhm.
and even with too many tannins that becomes bitter, they don't like it. If it is softer, it is
Mhm.
Yeah.
fruitier, it is a little bit more easy, as we say, easy pairing. They were drinking a
Mhm.
ripasso or amarone with the burger, and we were like, wow, this is so cool, burger with amarone. Wow, that's super cool.
That's
Really,
amazing.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
really amazing.
Well, I think a big shout out to you for just a willingness to try that, right? Because I think
Absolutely.
a big issue with the wine community for so long was kind of this unwillingness to even cater to a younger generation. It was kind of this
Mhm.
idea of like, no, you come to us, right? Like wine is a luxury, wine is elite. You will come to us, and then wine got caught on its heels because all of a sudden the younger generation was like,
Sure.
no, like we're going in a different direction, and now the wine community is playing catch up. So like shout out to
Mhm.
you for adapting to that and saying, okay, this is what young people are looking for, so we're going to adapt, and now you're reaping the benefits of that. So like congrats. And when we someday get out that direction for our Stop Wasting Your Wine world tour, we would love to come to one of your parties and have a burger and drink
Please,
Amarone.
please do it, because it's really pop. It's really beautiful.
Yeah, and
Sounds
just
amazing.
just to put an exclamation point on that, they did it in Valpolicella, which is a wine region that has a ton of history and expectations. So to kind of buck that, I think is a really really cool, just a really cool way to do wine, and that's what the wine industry needs.
Mhm.
Thank you. My son recently opened another wine bar in the city center of Verona, so in downtown. That is, I don't know if you're familiar with the name
Very cool.
Baccaro. Is a kind of osteria that is typical of Venice. If you go in Venice, there are these tiny osteria. They serve you this cicchetti, that is a kind of tapas, and it's called Baccaro. So you just open up a new spot. Is a Baccaro del Mona, so this Baccaro, and it's full of young people, full of young guys. It's everyone with the glass outside, enjoying the beautiful weather, the night, and having fun, just chatting each other outside of the bar, because the bar is really small, it's a tiny one. But you have a couple of hundred people
Mhm.
just standing out with the glass, and it's a glass of wine. So we were super proud of that, really, extremely proud of that.
Yeah, it's amazing.
That's amazing.
So cool.
Super cool.
Love it.
That sounds fantastic. I mean, I'm jealous, and I can't be there doing that. But what I can do right now is I can
Not
finish
right
drinking this
now,
glass of
exactly.
wine.
That's right.
But,
Yeah.
but be ready, because I'll host all of you to come, and we have a little hotel in the middle of the vineyard, so you can come sleep there, and then we have a couple of 2-3 days together, hanging out with my son, with the kids. Kids, don't say that to them, otherwise they kill me. But yeah, having a lot of fun, having
Always
a
your
lot of
kids.
fun, really.
That's awesome.
That sounds
I'll be
amazing.
there.
Yes,
Absolutely.
absolutely. Yeah, sold.
So we will when we eventually make it out there, we will 100% take you up on that.
Yes, please.
So be prepared. But no, let's get our final thoughts on this, and once again, you can let us know if we're way off, and then we'll move it forward. Colin, Joel, thoughts on the taste of your wines?
Yeah, I mean, all the red fruit that we were tasting earlier totally comes through. And I think we talked about it, but just the lightness and the freshness really shines through. And it's such an impressive wine, I think, because again, it totally shatters what I was expecting Amarone would be. I was expecting a little more bold, a lot more of that oak, maybe a ton more tannin. This is such a light drinker, but it's just so good. It's so good. I mean, this is the kind of wine that I like to drink. There's nice acidity, there's nice lift there, all tied up in a wonderful fruity package. So I mean, this is a must share for me, and as close to the wine fridge as you get without being in there. But it's an incredible bottle of wine. It's a bottle that, if you can find it, you should absolutely try it because it's just so different than what you would expect Amarone to be. And I think it's a really good version. I almost wish all of Amarone kind of shifted this way because you still get all the great flavors you would expect in an Amarone, but without the heavy bite. It's a totally different experience, and I absolutely love it. It's a great bottle of wine, absolute must share. Just try it. Absolutely try it.
I couldn't think of anything that I would want more from this wine. It's everything you just said. It's the complete mind shift too.
Yeah.
I love that what we're experiencing here is a new take on the Amarone, and one that is so wildly enjoyable. You already said it all. I love the balance. Everything is just hitting the perfect note. I don't think we talked about how the sip is just from beginning to end. It's just lovely, and it's different as it goes through. But every note and every part of the sequence is perfect. Lends itself to food. You can drink it alone. You don't need to pair it with anything. It stands on its own. This is a wine fridge wine for me. First of the year for me. So
good for you.
Cheers, Mariano, and thank you so much for sharing this with us. I'm so impressed and grateful.
So I'll say to the listeners, if you're a new listener to the show, and for Mariano shared this at the beginning, here in the Stop Wasting Wine podcast, we don't believe in numbers. Numbers get kind of strange. At a certain point, numbers don't mean anything between a 91, 92, 93. It doesn't. It stops meaning something at a certain point. So we believe more in vibes. So must shares are wines that are exceptionally good bottles of wine that just have something extra and they're special and they deserve to be shared. Solid pours are just really good bottles of wine. Casual sippers are enjoyable but not necessarily memorable. And wastes of your wine are wines that are overvalued, low quality, or just undrinkable. But the most special wine that you could possibly have are, of course, our wine fridge wines. All of us have 3 spots in our fridge every year, and those can get switched out, but there's only 3 at a time. Joel just added this bottle. This is your first wine fridge wine of 2026.
Yeah.
So Joel added Amarone, and of course, because I can never have anything nice myself, I was also adding this to my wine fridge because this is actually, Mariano, everything that I look for in a wine. I love a wine that has just enough tannins, just enough weight, just enough alcohol, just enough of everything. And this is, to me, exactly what I am looking for. And most importantly, this would also be something my wife would drink. This would not, it is, and I would not tell her until afterwards that this is like 15.5% alcohol. Like, because you would never, someone would not know how big this wine is, because you have done such a nice job balancing like the boldness and the bigness of this wine with the elegance of this wine. Absolutely. And I think that is so impressive, and this is absolutely a wine fridge wine.
Mm-hmm. So glad that you
so thank you so much for sharing it with us.
Grazie mille.
Yeah, it's incredible. 100%.
By the way, you didn't notice the name of the Amarone. Did you read it? What is the name of this Amarone? Il Lussurioso. Do you know the meaning of Il Lussurioso?
Il Lussurioso. No. What is it?
Try go Google it. I don't want to tell you what it is.
Ooh, okay. I'm on it.
Am I going to get in trouble? What?
Not in trouble, but okay. Since nobody's listening, they will be they will be listening later. Means lustful. Lustful.
Nice.
And everyone says, why lustful? Because once you get a bottle, you and your partner, at the end of the bottle, you realize why it's lustful. It's really working.
I love that.
It's really working.
Maybe I should tell my wife before. So now I'm in trouble.
It's really worth.
Perfect name, and that makes perfect sense with this.
Oh, man,
No,
I
it
love
makes,
that
it
so
makes
much.
sense. Because you know what, I was gonna make a joke earlier when you were talking about people having more than one glass of this. I was gonna ask, like, do you have to have like slightly more security at your bar with like people? It's such a drinkable 15.5%. Like, it's so drinkable.
That's such an American question, right
It's such an
there.
American
Yeah.
question. It's
Yeah,
such
yeah.
an American question. I'm sorry. It's such an American question. In America, like, people would be falling out of the bar. No, you're not.
Yeah.
It's such a noticeable thing.
We are not that mad. We
Yeah.
like, okay, sometimes you get some strange night with strange people, but doesn't happen very often. We like to
Americans.
chill out, very relax, have fun, and so on.
American tourists, we apologize for us.
Yeah.
Okay. Before we let you go, and if it's okay with you, we usually end our show with a game. And we didn't warn you ahead of time, Mariano, so it's totally okay if you don't want to, but it's totally low key. We have a game that we call PiNope or ChardonnYay.
Okay.
And PiNope or ChardonnYay. We think it's funny. And we think we're funny. And basically, we're going to do a rapid fire round where I am just going to read very quickly some Amarone strange situations or pairings. And you can just tell me PiNope, absolutely not, or ChardonnYay, sure. And so the first one example would be Amarone on ice. PiNope or ChardonnYay?
You mean on ice or in the ice pocket? On ice.
Someone wants to pour it over ice cubes.
PiNope, because
not on your watch.
Yeah.
no,
Yeah,
because
that's right.
you know what
Why, especially
happened?
this one.
With when you put the ice, you raise the tannins, so you get this tannins effect that comes stronger in your palate. So it has already enough tannins. So it's better you chill a little bit, but then once it's in the glass, it cannot be over. Okay, I tell you in Celsius, cannot be below 16, 18, something like that. Otherwise, you get it shrinks and becomes really very tannic.
I love that. Okay, Amarone with pizza.
Oh yeah, it depends on pizza, but yes, absolutely. So in this way, ChardonnYay. ChardonnYay.
Okay.
Especially with this Amarone. Gosh.
God, yes. I feel like this would be great with pizza.
Absolutely.
Not with a difficult pizza, with margherita, easy, very fresh. So with a lot of good
Absolutely.
tomato, and this one you don't need something with a lot of stuff on top. Just a simple margherita with good tomato, and this glass of Amarone. Yes, absolutely.
That sounds ideal.
Love that.
Perfect. Some big brand wants to move in and start selling box wine Amarone.
Love the face.
What do you mean? What do you mean with big brands? Big volumes or important brand?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know. I thought this was going to be like a real fast PiNope. What would you call it? Help me out with this.
Yeah, box wine, I would think, by big volume. So they just make so much, they just put it in a box in a bag and sell it to anybody.
Whenever you go in a box, means that you want to get volumes, and if someone does good quality, doesn't have these huge volumes to sell in in bagging box or something like that. So PiNope.
Yep.
Appreciate it. All right. Making really like fancy eye-catching labels on your bottle to appeal to a younger generation.
Okay, could work, but again, it's like if you're saying, I have an old car, I have an old Rolls Royce, and I want to paint in a fuchsia color, or in a color that is super young and super. Yeah, but it's an old Rolls Royce, so why would you paint in a stupid way? I don't know.
That's such a good way to put it. I love that. Yeah.
That's perfect.
Yeah, let the wine speak for itself. And then last one, easy for you. Amarone is just an everyday wine. Because I read online, it's like people like special occasion wine, but just everyday drinker.
I could say yes if you can afford. It all depends. It all depends on if you can afford, something like not expensive, because even our Amarone is not expensive. But if you can afford every day to spend this money, yeah, why not? It's a wine, not a bottle, but a couple of glasses, sure. Absolutely.
Awesome.
Well done. That was perfect.
Mariano, thank you so much. Thank you for sharing this wine with us. Thank you for talking to us about your family and your vineyard and just your thoughts on wine. And thank you for playing our silly game at the end. This has
Pleasure, but
been wonderful. We
let's
truly appreciate
Such a
it.
pleasure.
let's finish this conversation, this chat. Let me know when you come to Verona. I want to have the three of you in Verona to hang out 3 days here. Whenever, just text me, write to me, whatever. But you have to come to Verona, please.
Deal.
Let's make it.
That sounds amazing. Yeah.
Let's
Yeah,
make it.
that's incredible. Thank you so much.
You will probably know we're going to be in Verona before our wives know we're going to be in Verona.
Yeah.
You
Totally.
will be the first one to find out.
Very good. I can't wait for that. Ciao, guys. Take care.
Love it.
And
Awesome.
thank you
Thank
so
you so
much
much.
for sharing in this moment with me. Really, I appreciate it a lot.
Thank you. Thank you for your
Thank you.
time and for
Yes.
sharing this wine. It
And-
was great.
And this amazing wine.
Yeah.
It's really good. Go try it, everybody.
Absolutely.
Bless you
Couldn't
guys.
recommend it enough. Thank you.
Ciao.
All right. That was another excellent episode. Thank you all for joining us. That was so much fun. I have a new favorite bottle of wine, I think. I'm really
You can say it proudly. You don't have to
Yeah,
even be
yeah, you
nervous
don't have
about it,
to hide.
man. Just
Just do
yeah.
I don't know. Locking in the favorite. Favorite's a strong word.
Favorite is
It's-
a strong
you
word.
don't-
It's a strong
But
word.
favorite right now, it makes perfect sense.
Favorite, right. It's really good.
This bottle of
All
wine is
right.
incredible.
Man. Okay. Wow. I'm having trouble even thinking. Okay. Well, I'm
He's
having
at a
trouble
loss for
using
words,
my.
ladies and gentlemen.
I'm at a loss for words, which doesn't happen
doesn't
often.
happen a
So
lot.
while I'm fixing my brain, Joel, can you tell the listener how they can continue interacting with our show moving forward?
I would be very happy to. It's very simple, guys. Stop Wasting Your Wine on YouTube and Instagram. Go to stopwastingyourwine.com. And then wherever you're listening to us, give us a like, give us a follow, tell a friend. We'd appreciate it.
Awesome.
All right. Fantastic. Hey, everyone. We'll see you next week.
And remember, stop wasting your wine.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.